Episode 52 of the 38th Parallel.
Shane. A-L-A-N Allen. Allen.
It's gonna break it. I told you.
Oh no, I can't believe he did that. JD Vance, his career is over. Why did he do that?
But he didn't see. I have a totally different take than everybody. He didn't drop it. Like the other guy holding the gold part had already detached it from the base, and because he didn't, I'm sure he was
playing a prank on him.
I'm sure he didn't think that it detached. So he's sitting here holding the base, wondering where the trophy went.
It flew up in the air.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have known if you had told me because it doesn't it look like you just like you could pick it up by the gold part and hold it up in the air like the Super Bowl trophy. But I guess if you did that, it would just come off, right?
Yeah.
Sounds to me like it's a piece of junk. I don't know.
Yeah. I saw someone say that apparently it is detachable from there. So I guess it's easy to just come off like that. But, you know, it's JD Vance. So, of course, it's going to be heightened and it's going to be played on our show to make fun of. So there you go.
Or like, how do we even know that that's the real trophy versus like just like a replica trophy for media appearances?
Well, yeah, because like with the Lombardi trophy, don't they make a new one for each year, or whatever? But what they should do is have like, okay, I think the NHL does this, right? The Stanley Cup, it goes around, whoever wins has it, and then if they win again, they keep it. If another team wins, then they get the Stanley Cup. It's not like, oh, we'll make you a new one.
Yeah. Every NFL team that has Super Bowl trophies like has like in their like Hall of Honor or whatever, they've got the trophies on display like behind glass or whatever. So I mean, like your team gets a trophy versus I'm pretty sure the Stanley Cup, it is just a singular thing.
So JD Vance tweeted about that. He said, I didn't want anyone after Ohio State to get the trophy, so I decided to break it. What a jokester. He's so funny. Now, to be fair, what would have happened if, say, Joe Biden had done that? Do you think the same people who are, that was hilarious, JD Vance, that's funny. Do you think they would have been like, look at this old senior citizen?
Oh, the same type of people would have said that the other guy had, detached the trophy.
Why would you be defaming such a historic American sports pastime as the college football championship? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. I don't know why the team was there with JD Vance at all. Like, I thought the whole point was to meet the president. Not the
president was there. He was like, he was all smiling and hey, with the helmet. And it was funny. Everybody's looking at what's going on. Trump's still staring forward.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fuck Ohio State. That's my official position.
Who are you a fan of again? Who are you? Boise State, right?
Boise State or Tennessee, whichever one.
State. Is that like one of those things where you're a team of a like you're a fan of a team that have you ever been to Idaho?
No one's ever been to Idaho. It's not even a real place.
It's like me with the Niners. I've only been to California like a handful of times. So
have you been to a 49ers game?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a dream though, one day. And it'd be funny the one time I do actually end up going, it'll be a game they lose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, which is the more likely thing that you're going to do? That you're actually like going to go to Candlestick Park or whatever, or like you'll just see the 49ers playing at wherever is closest to you. So you're actually seeing them as the away team.
Probably the
latter.
I
could go see the Cowboys in Nashville if they play the Titans. I mean, they've played the Titans in Nashville a few times over the last decade or so. So I mean, it's not like it would be that hard necessarily to do.
Well, it'd probably be easier to go when the tickets are more cheap. So basically, both teams would have to be just awful because otherwise, go to a game where they're both 1-10 or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the best case scenario is that, because just based on how they do like the round robin scheduling, is that the
Mhm.
Titans and Cowboys would both have to finish last in their respective divisions, and then therefore they would be the matchup the following year if, like the NFC East, an AFC East team, AFC South teams, the fourth place teams would then be Cowboys Titans. But unfortunately, the Giants are even worse than the Cowboys. So actually, it would be the Giants that would play the Titans, not
Well, there you go.
Cowboys.
Yep.
Yeah, it's because Cooper Rush was so good that
Hey,
the
maybe
Cowboys
he should be
weren't.
the starting quarterback as opposed to the other guy.
I mean, he did win more games than the highest paid quarterback in the history of the NFL last year.
Yeah, there you go.
This is technically true.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
man.
but I mean, no, Cooper Rush is gone. I think he's moved on. I think he's like not dead, but
Oh yeah,
not passed on, but
Baltimore Ravens.
yeah, he's the new backup for Baltimore Ravens.
Wow.
So the Cowboys, obviously, I don't know who's going to be their new well, they signed Joe Milton III from
Whoa.
the Patriots, which would be, as far as a backup quarterback goes, that's a huge downgrade from Cooper Rush. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
really want to be playing your backup, but at least you played a backup that A, has been on the team for a few years, and B,
Mhm.
has actually won an NFL game before in his life.
Yeah.
Joe Milton has never even played a regular season game before and is new to the team, so by default has not won an NFL game in his life.
Man.
So obviously but that doesn't matter because Dak Prescott's gonna stay healthy, and
Yeah, I'm sure this is going to be the year, right? This is the year.
this is 17-0. This is
Yeah.
it.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
time.
took all that. He took that extra time off last year to get ready for this season.
Get that easier schedule on paper.
Yeah, sure, something like that. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it is technically an easier schedule, but of course, again, the only reason this came up is that it's like, well, what's the likelihood that Dallas will play like the Titans? And so, unfortunately, it's not good. But I mean, I'm sure they'll play him again. But that's why I was asking you, like, so would you actually wind up going to like, a Texans game, and they're hosting the 49ers, and then you're going to be you're that guy now. You're that guy
I'm the one.
at Energy Stadium. Like, go Niners, and
Go to
everybody's like,
SoFi and actually feel like a home game.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because for some reason in SoFi, there's more Niner fans that go there, even though it's a Rams game.
Mm-hmm. Well, what'll be, because I don't remember where it will you be closer to Houston or Dallas?
Dallas. Yeah.
So well, actually, I would say don't go to a Cowboys game if they're hosting the 49ers, because A, the tickets will be $8 million.
Right.
And B, you'll get stabbed. You can't be wearing your jersey.
Yeah.
In that.
I'll be a secret. Yeah. I'll be wearing blue, but every time they get a touch, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
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 So, man, what, Cowboys fans like Raiders fans now? Is that what you're saying? Or they've always been like that?
No, but I mean, just of the teams, like if the Cowboys are hosting the Browns, no one would care.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's true. Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, look, it's a Cleveland fan out of his natural habitat. Right. That's neat. They'd take pictures of you, But if you're
Browns fan, wow, look at you.
Yeah. Well, that's how they would know. Oh, that guy's serious. He's a real fan.
Yeah.
He's walking around with a 6-year-old, whatever, Johnny Manziel jersey or something. I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't know. I was just trying to think of one.
Or Brandon Weeden. Remember that guy?
Yeah. Well, they've got Flacco back. So
hey, there you go.
The Flack attack is back in Cleveland.
50-year-old Joe Flacco. Let's go.
Yeah. He's way younger than Aaron Rodgers. So,
well, yeah. It was a dumb
joke.
I
say way younger. I mean, in sports years, he is way younger, but I say way younger. I have to look at now. He's probably younger than me, and I'm just gonna get sad. Let's see. No, yes, we were born in the same year, but he was born in January and I was born in September. So he's an old man, and I'm super youthful and in the prime of my life. Yes.
Well, there you go. I mean, you don't have that much time left, so yeah.
Yeah. It's just yeah.
In the prime of your life.
Yeah.
If you did actually die when that gets 0, your prime was what? When you're 22 or something? Technically, that would be your prime, right?
Well, I'm going out on top. So that's
okay.
why.
So like you're like Seinfeld. You go out on top.
Yeah. Which is funny because so Joe Flacco did turn 40 in January of this year. Aaron
Right.
Rodgers is already 41, so that's why he's mega old.
Man, Aaron Rodgers. I'm hearing rumors he might go to San Francisco. I'm like, sure, why not? Go ahead. Go there.
Yeah. So he'll be 42 at the end of the year when me and Joe are only 40. So
there you go.
So I guess when I said he was way younger, I guess he's not really way younger, but
a few months.
Well, I mean,
not too bad.
December versus January, that counts. Well, I mean, he was born in December of 83 versus January of 85. So, yeah. I mean, that's way younger in sports world. So, yeah. Now I've in a weird way I actually kind of feel a little bit worse because I think of Aaron Rodgers as like the super old current vet who everybody's waiting to see retire.
Yeah.
But he's actually so yeah, he's like a year and 2/3 older than me.
Oh wow. I just saw this. Iran not far from a nuclear bomb.
So that's just not true according to the United States' own intelligence.
That's a good segue.
Yeah. Oh, you just read that?
Yeah, I just read that.
Well, wow. Oh, God. Link me to that. That sounds like some big news. I've never heard that before.
This was tweeted 2 days ago from disclose.tv. Just in, Iran not far from nuclear bomb, says the IAEA.
Well, that's cool. So now I can, if I haven't already muted or blocked that account, I can do that now.
Yeah.
Because anyone that tweets that is not a serious person.
It's like what? They've been saying that since the beginning of time.
I mean, they've been saying that since George W. Bush, at least. I mean, they've been saying that as long as Iran was called like, the axis of evil at the start of the war on terror in W. Bush years. So that at least that long. So at least 20 years. A little bit more, probably 22 years, 23
There's
years.
A famous picture of Netanyahu with that picture of a bomb, like a literal, like cartoonish picture of a bomb. Like, oh, see, the 75%'s there. So we could,
that
was like 20 years ago.
JC. Breaking news, red light emojis. Yeah. Breaking. Yeah, that's what they all do. I love. That's one of my pet peeves. We could do a whole episode of, hey Shane, what's your pet peeve? One of my 8 million pet peeves is when some random Twitter account post says breaking news, and then it's like, it rained last Thursday. Mm-hmm. That's not really breaking news then, is it? Breaking news. There was an assassination attempt on Trump during the election. Like, yeah.
Well, I know I'm going to tweet tomorrow then, breaking news and some mundane bullshit just to piss you off.
I mean, at least make it something from that day. Yeah. At least, like,
Hey, but like yesterday was 75 and today it's snowing. So there you go.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's why I don't live in a literal hellscape like all you people do. We don't do that. We don't go.
I looked where you are in the temperature and wow, beautiful. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, dude, we're killing it. This is I think I've told you before how you can tell that we're in like the good times are here is we'll go through a period of time in spring where if it's sunny like several days in a row, it's going to get warm. It'll get well into the 80s earlier in the year. But as soon as we have like a day or two of like rain and storms, then the temperature bottoms out, 20, 30 degrees and then builds back up. The fact that I can look at my 7-day forecast and see that we've got like a bunch of rain coming in, but the temperature only bottoms out to 72 and then goes back up. It means the good times are here.
There you go.
It's over. Like a month ago, it could have been 80 degrees and then it storms, and the next day it's 46.
Right.
Now it's 80 degrees and then it storms and it's 72. So that means yes, we've survived another winter, folks. We did it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We
Cherish
made
while
it.
it lasts.
We made it through the low 60s. It's over.
You're like those Florida, the Florida people are like, man, it's 60. It's freaking cold out here.
I lived in the Orlando area for a few years, and I will never forget being down there around Christmas one year and going to Publix because I was like, well, Christmas is coming up, so I better go to the grocery store now and get stuff because I don't need to be going back out during the holiday rush or whatever, or when they're closed or whatever.
Right.
And I go out there, and now keep in mind they're having like a major winter front has moved into Central Florida. It's Christmas Eve. People are rushing to get their shopping done, and it is a brisk, wintry 70 degrees outside. I shit you not.
Yeah.
I saw people wearing scarves.
That's not surprising. Yeah.
I'm not even saying like pants and long sleeves and jackets and coats. I mean, there's people wearing coats and a toboggan and a scarf. I was wearing shorts. It's 70 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but y'all have your thermostats at home set to this temperature. So when you're at home wearing like, whatever, a nightgown, and then you put on all these layers to go outside into the same temperature, you have your thermostat. That make it make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Florida's crazy.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I remember walking into the grocery store and then going to like the self-checkout and then heading back out into the parking lot to go to my car and passing people going in and out wearing like scarves and like those big puffy jackets, like ski jackets and stuff. I'm like,
yeah,
like I'd be sweating if I was wearing that because it's 70 degrees outside.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
It was so weird. It only got a little bit cooler than that year, and then just started warming back up again. Like by mid-February, it was already warming up again. But yeah, there was a few weeks there where people like, look, I can get someone wearing a jacket in the morning, and then they just don't take it off because that's inconvenient, and then it warms up during the day. No. This was like 3 PM, and it's 70 degrees, and people are getting out of their cars wearing coats and
that's crazy
headgear and scarves. I couldn't believe it. I don't see people wearing scarves here when it's like legitimately cold because this isn't like the Northeast. You don't have to put like a coat and then an overcoat, like
right.
That's not, it never gets, not never, but it usually doesn't get
very
cold.
rarely. Yeah.
Very rarely. And very rarely does it mean that we have wintry weather. Like if it gets super cold, it's probably really dry. And if then it gets really warm, and then because it's warm, then we have precipitation. So the likelihood of us having like heavy precipitation plus mega cold, that's why it very rarely snows here. That just doesn't happen that much. But here we are. We've already had a couple of 2 or 3 weeks of mid-80s already. This is, which the other side of that coin is that means this year is going to be hot. Just get ready for it. Our normal, like the normal time on the calendar that you can say, okay, summer starts here in Tennessee is like the 2nd to 3rd week of May. So if it's the 2nd week of April and it's 85, dude, it's over. We're cooking this year. It's over.
Maybe global warming is real.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
real.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's Israel. Jeez. Okay, well, then it's going to be hot as hell then.
Yeah. Bombs away. You mentioned something there during your whole story about Florida, talking about, Donald Trump. I knew you were just joking about Donald Trump possible assassination attempt, but there actually was someone who wanted to do that. I'm going to show you that story right now. Look at that. Not this guy, though, on the screen. Can you imagine this guy? No, I wasn't the guy.
I was like, wait a minute, that guy right there?
Yeah. No, it's for something else. Apparently, he's an alleged MS-13 member. That guy in El Salvador, that one congressman or whatever the hell when
Yeah.
Senator went down there to, hey, because he cares about that guy as opposed to,
A teenager killed his own parents
yeah. So he
to
could use
their money
Yeah.
to assassinate Trump.
Yes.
Okay, but you know what the problem with this story is? No. You've already passed it. You've already passed the most important part of the headline. What are the last 2 words?
Feds say, yeah.
Okay, so it's not real. None of this is true. This is like reading the National Enquirer right here, dude.
Hell yeah. National Enquirer. That's where we are.
Yeah.
A Wisconsin teen allegedly murdered his mother and stepfather to obtain the financial means and autonomy necessary to kill President Trump and overthrow he's going to overthrow the U.S. government. That guy right there. So 17. It's over.
And then you see his name there, Nikita Kasap.
Yeah, Kasap.
Yeah, so that's not suspicious at all.
Yeah.
And also like if you needed money to, kick off the revolution, like why don't you just knock off a bank or something? Why is it kill your parents? There has to be some backstory there, I would think.
Yeah, it said that he's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of hiding a corpse after killing his mother and stepfather in their Waukesha home, then stashing their bullet-riddled bodies under blankets for weeks. Documents allegedly written by the teen and reviewed by the FBI, so we know we can trust them, called for the assassination of Trump and the start of a revolution to, quote, save the white race. Hell yeah.
Oh, well, in that case, maybe he's not so bad. Let's at
there
least
you
hear him. Let's read the documents for ourselves.
Let's read them out. The teen's alleged scrawling show images of Adolf Hitler. Oh, sounds like a psyop. With the following text, quote, in all caps, hail Hitler, hail the white race, hail victory. It's starting to smell like
okay, I get it now. So from the Eastern European name and the Nazi overtones, they're gonna try to make the claim that he's of Ukrainian descent, and since Trump's trying to end the war in Ukraine and talking to Putin, that this Ukrainian went nuts and tried to kill him. That's what there you go. That's the psyop.
You know what?
So none of this is real. This is all fake, and that's the psyop. Is they're trying to make it a. Well, look at these dangerous Ukrainian extremists.
Yeah. I mean, this whole to like overthrow the U.S. government. Like, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? You yourself, one person is going to just go in there and march into the White House. All right, I'm overthrowing the U.S. government. Oh, shit. He got us. It's over.
I mean, because you kill the president, like it's not like you kill the president and now you get to be the president. Like that's not really how
I'm
it works.
I'm the president now. Like in Captain Phillips, I'm the captain now. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, because that's always ultimately the question that you ask whenever you hear any random psycho person who wants to be an assassin is like, okay, let's say hypothetically your plan goes off without a hitch. Mm-hmm. First of all, you're going to die. Like, even if by some crazy chance you get your target, you then will be killed.
Yeah.
So that just means JD Vance is president, right? So was that a part of the plan? Was we gotta get Vance in office so that he can save the white race? which if you've ever seen Vance's wife and kids, you would know there's something off about that story.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe he didn't think this all the way through. I don't know.
Apparently not, because he got caught, and now he's what is he gonna do? Write in his journal, "Hail Hitler" for fucking ever?
I always love the pictures of them appearing in court, and they're wearing like all the bulletproof stuff. Like, so who's out to get him that he needed to be geared up?
Well, they just want to make sure he's not gonna do something like that again, because he has a gun on him somehow, because he's in a fucking courthouse or whatever.
Well, they're acting like, it's like a Lee Harvey Oswald thing. Like they're thinking, oh, someone's going to assassinate
Oh
him
no,
in
another Jack
court.
Ruby. Oh no.
Yeah. Like who's out to
Mhm.
get that kid? Because I don't know. It just,
Speaking of, where happened to the JFK files and Epstein files that we were promised? Where are they at? We're on what day is it now? What day is it? We're on.
it doesn't matter. It's infinity. That's how many days you got to wait. If there is
Yeah.
an afterlife where you get to have all the secrets of the world, then that'll be when you find out,
You
and
can
not a
like
minute
tap
before.
Pam Bondi's shoulder. Hey, lady, where's the? Oh, right, yeah, they're on my desk. Actually, I'm still looking through them. You said that last time. I'm really doing it this time. Trust me. All right. Well, I can't wait to see you on Jesse Waters again. So
Yeah. If you want to know a great example of like a how we started versus how we got there.
Mhm.
So number 12 was, what's the best compliment you've ever been given? You're like, oh, that's nice,
yeah,
And then we go to, do you believe in fate or free will? And you're like,
damn,
God damn.
we're going deep here.
Yeah, no, dude, it goes way deeper. Like it's a death spiral. By the time you get to 31, you're like, this is a catharsis. I really feel like
Yeah, because I was doing that too here. Because what we're talking about is some Chat GPT questions. Because you had done that on your show. What's it
Mhm.
called? It's Too Late with Alan Mosley, I think, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And okay, so here's the first question. If it's a political philosophical question,
Okay.
what do you see as the biggest threat to individual liberty in the US right now?
The US government. That's
Okay.
like that's so obvious. I mean, Israel's takeover of the US government. But
Yeah.
but that's still by default. It's still the US government.
Yeah. I heard Shane Gillis say that as Donald Trump one time. He said, we gave you our government, and what did you do? Commit genocide. 2, how do you respond to critics who say your views are too idealistic or unworkable in practice? Jeez, that goes from
Well, I mean, like when you say my ideas are unrealistic or unworkable. So if my idea is, let's not hand over our sovereignty to a foreign nation that hates us, and your answer is that's unworkable, let's compromise. The compromise is start blowing people's brains out of the back of their skulls. That's my idea. I don't know. I'm with Nikita on this.
I think you're starting to make some sense.
I mean, maybe not my mom and dad, and maybe not
Oh,
the
yeah.
Hitler imagery, but
Sure.
the crux of the argument is there.
Yeah.
I feel like he was onto something. It's just the execution. Nope,
Yeah,
pun intended.
it's like the whole serial killer. They can do all the killing and all that, but when it comes to the grave, they get a little hasty.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 3 more here in this political philosophy. I'm not going to ask you all of them. Maybe later on in the show if we have time. 3, what's your vision for a society based on voluntarism? How would basic services like roads, education, or defense work without government?
That has nothing to do with my show. We don't talk about that at all. Where does that even come from?
ChatGPT wants to know. I don't know.
Go ask Hans Hermann Hoppe here.
You can reduce the problem by 1 if you just simply kill yourself on the spot.
How dare you?
I didn't say it. He said it.
Oh, right. Okay, number 4. Where do you draw the line between liberty and responsibility?
Well, those are the same thing, though. What do you mean draw the line? So maximum personal liberty also means you are maximally responsible for yourself, right?
Sure.
So,
yeah.
so how can you draw the line where they are parallel to one another on the line? Because at the end of the day, if ChatGPT is insinuating that having tons of liberty means you lose responsibility, it can't be individual responsibility because you would have a maximum amount of that with maximum liberty. It can only mean responsibility to others. And dude, I'm not responsible for jack shit to do with y'all. I'm only responsible for, I don't owe you anything. That's
All right, so last one.
all right.
How do you think political activism can actually be effective in today's hyper-partisan climate?
I mean, the thing is that whenever, because it's not hyper partisan, because the uniparty is in complete control of our government, and they overlap on 98% of issues. It's those final 2% that they just gin up the hyper partisan, if you will. Mm-hmm. But what do they always do? Whenever they need to gin up support, whenever they need to get everybody roused up together to all be moving, all ships sailing in one direction, what do they always do? They just go start a war somewhere, do a false flag, blow up a couple of skyscrapers. They do something like that. And then all of a sudden, people who yesterday were like, at each other's throats over relatively minor, policy disagreements, now all of a sudden are completely in lockstep. That's how they do it. Because the thing is that at the end of the day, there's a lot of people. You're bleeding heart liberal, just boohoo. Why can't we be friends? Let's just all get along type people. Those people look at a political climate that's hyper partisan, and they think this is bad. But I think a huge chunk of the population, first of all, most people are retarded. That's why democracy doesn't work. Democracy doesn't work because people are retarded. Two, the absolute most greedy, most evil people take positions of leadership because they want the power. They don't want to take those positions because they're trying to move the needle. They take those positions because, as Thomas Massey said today, it's the best job they ever had. That's why they do it. And that's also why that they don't want to rock the boat, by the way. They don't want to rock the boat when they get, because you're like, well, why does the idealistic politician get into office and then, cave on everything? It's because when they get in office, they realize I get to basically take vacation, 350 days a year and make, 6 and 7 figures. Well, I'm not going to do anything to ruin the gravy train. So I'm not going to vote to cut anyone's entitlements or make the president mad or whatever. I'm just going to do whatever they tell me to. And so that's another problem. But the point ultimately what I get at is that if these people want to keep genociding brown kids, and as you brought up earlier, keep protecting certain foreign elements and keep protecting pedophiles and rapists and murderers within our own country's elite and political class, then why would I want to work things out with I want them all dead. No, we need to be so hyper partisan that the partisan isn't just A and B. It's like A through Z, and we all go our separate ways. I think that we need to ramp up the hyper partisanship to turn that bitch up to 11, to the point where instead of people figuring out, well, how can we make it work? People start figuring out, how can we break it down? That's it.
So how about if in those roles of leadership that you're talking about, what if they're your friends? Like people that you know and trust? How would that change your perspective on that?
I could name on one hand the number of people in government that I'm like, oh, that's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
We both know that Thomas Massey's name ain't popping up on Jeffrey Epstein's Mossad blacklist. It's just not happening, because that would be the only guy that they can't get. They got everybody else fucking kids on tape. They didn't get Thomas Massey. So when it turns out to be, because it's the same thing as the celebrity stuff, right? People will always be like, yeah, let's get the Epstein list out. Those guys are all a bunch of pedos. And then it leaks online. Well, did you know that Tom Hanks flew on the Lolita Express? And everyone's like, well, I guess you can't believe everything you read. And I'm like, wow, really?
Yeah, all those random pictures of gloves on the fucking street or whatever.
It's funny that the same list of names gets leaked. the names that were out there were the flight log names, right? Like it's people who we don't know what they did on the island. We don't know how they knew Jeffrey Epstein. We just know they went there. But that's bad enough. Like if you knew that there's this like club in town and in the basement they were running a pedo ring, and the club, like you had a buddy that was like, man, like, I heard they had good like mozzarella sticks, but dude, you went to that club like 296 times last year. That'd be awfully fucking suspicious, right? Yeah. Like you'd be raising your eyebrow. So the same list drops of people like celebrities and stuff that went to this place, and left wingers will take lists of names off the list of right wing people and say, aha, I knew it. They're pedos. And right wingers will take names from the same list, but people they don't like, and say, ha, I knew they were pedos. And they don't like, so they're still trying to figure out a way to play I gotcha instead of working together to publicly flay all of those people. Yeah, we've moved on from lynching. We have to actually skin them alive. That's why we're flaying them.
Imagine buying a ticket for that. Oh man, I can't wait to see the Tom Hanks lynching. But not just a lynching. He's gonna be filleted. Oh man, how much is that ticket?
Flayed, not filleted. We're not cooking Tom Hanks.
Yeah, we're not fillets.
Flay.
Yeah. Bobby Flay.
Yeah. I wonder how many times we can say, flay Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I don't know.
Before like that picks up in the algorithm. Like if you search flay Tom Hanks on YouTube, like this episode pops up.
Yeah. He'll probably get demonetized. That's fine though.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm not even picking on Tom Hanks other than the fact that he's a pedophile monster. But I'm just saying his name was on the list. And so when you see like Diddy on the list, everyone's like, well, of course, obviously, I mean, but then you see Tom Hanks and they're like, well, maybe, there's more to this story.
Oh,
it's
no,
like,
not Forrest Gump. Oh, no. Big?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Wow. Big. That's a movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen in a long time. Wow.
Jeez. He played Mr. Rogers. I can't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Fred Rogers didn't go to Epstein Island, but the actor playing Fred Rogers certainly did.
I don't know if this was like I'm sure it was just a massive rumor, but I'm pretty sure I heard this, and so correct me if I'm wrong, but remember when the whole COVID thing and he was quarantined somewhere, people were speculating that was part of it with the whole Epstein thing, where he was quarantined, but some people were saying that he didn't actually have COVID, or maybe he did have COVID but wasn't because I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it was something to do with that. I don't know. Am I the only one that like heard that, or am I just making shit up as I go?
Wait, who?
Tom Hanks.
Oh, Tom. Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, how could we know though? Like,
yeah.
But we also know.
How do I know?
I mean, we also know that a bunch of those people, like all the celebrities and the elites, weren't actually quarantining. Like everyone saw the video of Governor Newsom at noon does a press conference telling everyone, you're going to be publicly executed if you go out
fucking French one.
And then he's at the front. Yeah. So we know that those people, A, never believed any of that crap, and B, they were out there living life. So who knows what those people were doing during that time. All I know is that if you were there to take a picture of them, you probably got raped. So
that's why Tom Hanks got an Oscar for Philadelphia. Did he play an AIDS victim in that?
Victim.
Yeah, victim. Right.
It's funny that you put it that way. I've heard that people will say AIDS victim. What do you mean by victim? Like AIDS shanked them in an alley when they were.
No, he got raped. He got fucked in the ass, and he was the receipt. But that's considered the victim.
But he wasn't victimized though.
Yeah. Oh, that's just the word that came out. I don't know. I'm sure victim probably wasn't the right word to use there.
I don't know. I feel like this is adjacent to like a Norm Macdonald thing of saying like alcoholism is a disease, right? Like it is. Like you can catch alcoholism.
Yeah. That's one you can have. What's wrong with you? I'm happy. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if there's like I can think of some examples of ways you can be an AIDS victim, but I think a lot of people who have AIDS are not AIDS victims. They're
Yeah. Like
like
an AIDS victim would be someone who got nicked with a needle on purpose, and that person that did that knew that needle was infected with.
yeah.
Or a guy met a lady, the guy had AIDS, they had sex, he didn't tell her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. Now she's got AIDS.
Yeah.
So
Not HIV, mind you, but
no,
blown
full blown AIDS.
AIDS. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just skipped the line. You went
Yep.
straight to it. Yeah.
Straight. Yep.
Okay. What's a hill you'll die on that no one agrees with?
Oh God. I honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think, and I don't want to be sitting here with like dead air for 5 minutes.
I
Trying
do.
to think, like, how do I answer
Yeah,
that?
just think it over. Yeah.
Just think it over.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go with a dumb answer and say the way I say hotel, like, because you were making fun of me the way I say hotel. She makes fun of the way I say hotel.
What about it? Hotel?
Yeah, apparently I say hotel weird.
I don't hear it. It's just hotel.
I get, yeah, exactly. But she's the one over there. Oh, wait, how'd you say it again? Hotel. No, it's hotel. I'm like, what's the difference? I'm like, looking
No, it's
around.
definitely not hotel. It's hotel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
So because the argument is that because you've heard too many Motel 6 commercials, so you think if it's Motel 6, then it must be hotel,
Yeah,
whatever. No, it's a hotel and a motel.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
yeah. But they say it like, but that's propaganda. That's branding when you do that.
Yeah.
I mean, mine is that Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek.
Let's go. Although I need to watch that again to really solidify.
But it is though. Yeah, but I'll die on that hill, but it is though.
I'm always saying that because we watched TNG together and she loved TNG, but we kind of started DS9 and she's like, I miss Picard and Riker. And I'm just like, yeah, but it's Deep Space Nine. This is like going to be fucking awesome. Once you get, granted, the first 2 seasons are kind of the usual standalone, there's a lot of that. But then once 3 to 7,
see, people who say things like, like the first season or 2 of Deep Space Nine's kind of like a little weird, and there's like some weird campy character stuff, and like they have some adventures that are kind of awkward. It's like, well, do you not remember the first season of The Next Generation?
Oh God.
Like, really?
Oh man, yeah. Whew.
Yeah,
it's insane to think about the first season of TNG and how it continued, because there's like maybe 2-3 episodes of that first season you can actually go back. Oh yeah, that was a decent episode, but man, there's a lot of shitters. Whew, a lot of shitters.
Yeah, but then, dude, Deep Space Nine had so many just sick episodes and sick characters, and obviously the Dominion War. I mean, obviously,
sure, yeah.
But dude, yeah, crushed it.
And would you say that Cisco, because obviously one of the most famous things about not just DS9 but Star Trek in general is that whole speech he gives in the Pale Moonlight, I think is the episode, right, where he's kind of talking to the camera.
That's the espionage one with the Romulans and the assassination. Yeah.
But he kind of gives a justification as to why we need to bring in some.
Yeah.
I can't remember the whole story.
The whole episode is a retelling of just past events, and he's doing a log. Yeah. But see, because that's ultimately, because not only is that one of the all-time great episodes, but it's also an example of a difference between Picard and Sisko. Is that you couldn't imagine Jean-Luc Picard being in Sisko's position in that episode. He wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
He's too gay to do it.
Yeah.
Sisko has to man up and murder people because we're trying to save the galaxy. Whereas Jean-Luc Picard would just lose the war because he's,
Now I'm probably asking a retarded question here, which is I'm sure very normal. But is Sisko like is he more the neocon captain, or is that Picard? Because Picard's seen as more the diplomatic, I don't want to shoot anything at you. I want to be real peaceful with this. Very diplomatic. But Cisco, he punched Q, and then once he punched Q, you never see him in DS9 again. Like, that's it. That one episode, it's over. He'll get right in your face. He'll tell you, hey, this is what's going to happen. If you don't fucking listen to me, get the fuck out then if you don't want to. So would you say, in terms of how he would deal with foreign policy, is he more of that neocon, or is he just kind of he's just more aggressive?
No, because they're both bound by the same, like the Prime Directive and the same Starfleet regulations. The key differences is that since the Enterprise is an exploratory craft, it's really basically a science vessel, but it's an exploratory craft. They're out flying around. So Jean-Luc has to be the quintessential, like, old-timey British captain of when you go out onto a voyage, you're away from civilization for some period of time, and you are God on that ship. Everyone must listen to you, and you run things very tight because you cannot afford mistakes, because you can't call 911 and have someone come and fix your flat when you're out on a voyage. That's why things have to be run in a very militaristic style, even if it was a merchant vessel or even if it was privateers.
Well, technically, it's technically Navy, because their ranks are very, like, it's very similar to Navy in the Marine.
So, but like with Deep Space Nine, not only is it obviously a space station and not a ship that's flying around, but they are civilization. Ships like the Enterprise come deliberately there. Yeah. And so Cisco is in a totally different kind of diplomatic position. Cisco is not there to be going out and greeting like new life forms. They're if they are new, they came to him, but more often than not, they're not new people. They're just people, and he's just the liaison.
Well, whenever they would go out and explore, they would go on the Defiant.
Yeah, and that was always them going through the wormhole to the Gamma Quadrant. And so that was an area that was unexplored at the time. But even then, like, other people were doing the exploring. He had to be the commander on this station.
On a fucking former Cardassian vessel. A Cardassian ship or whatever,
Yeah, space station, yeah. And then they have to go get Miles O'Brien to fix it, because they're like, yeah, we don't know how to run this place. Can you just come fix all of this?
Oh, thanks for giving me this job. Yeah, this is great. Give me off of this awesome Enterprise to come here and fix this dumb fuck.
See, that's the thing, is that people think back with rosy colored glass. Like, look, this is not me saying the Next Generation's bad. I think it's great. I'm just saying people look back with rosy colored glasses of all of these great characters from the Next Generation, which there are. But I feel like the characters from Deep Space Nine had a lot more depth because they were in one place. It was much more of like a tight-knit crew, and you see all the interactions between each other, where it's like, Geordi mostly interacts with Data because they're like engineer type people.
Well, and unless you talk to the writers of Star Trek Discovery or Star Trek Picard, then you think, oh, Data and Picard were like lovers, right?
Well, and then like Picard mostly interacts with Riker because that's the captain and his first mate. And so they're obviously, and that's a military thing, because they are literally above everyone else. So you're not supposed to have, like, it's one thing, because that was the final episode of The Next Generation. In the final episode, Picard goes and joins the card game. Remember the officers had the card game, and Picard had never joined it because he thought that was improper. You're not supposed to have a commanding officer potentially like win money off of.
He'd go drink his Earl Grey tea and read a book or something.
Yeah, and so him joining the card game was basically like his way of saying, like FOMO, like he's fear of missing out on this camaraderie. That was Jean-Luc realizing that his like staff had a lot of really close relationships, and while he had relationships with them, maybe they were closer to each other than he was to them and they were to him. But that's normal, right? Like the dudes working in the warehouse are going to know each other better than the boss and the dudes.
Right.
Because they're on the level. They're working together all the time. But in Deep Space Nine, you had a much more varied cast. And of course, obviously, they brought Worf over. And by the way, Worf in Deep Space Nine is way better than Worf in The Next Generation.
Oh, he's not used as a punching bag for most of the time.
Yeah. And same thing, like because obviously, Miles O'Brien didn't play a huge role in The Next Generation, only like off and on for a couple of years. Right. But he was killer in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, it was him and Bashir, basically.
Yeah. And so same thing there. Like you have these little relationships that sprout, but at the same time, just the whole crew, like Kira obviously is an outsider. She's not a Starfleet, person. She's
originally that was supposed to be Roe, Ensign Roe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank God we didn't have that.
But the actress was like, nah, I don't want to be in the TV series. So
yeah, see, Kira is one of those things that I remember watching Deep Space Nine, like back in the day when it came on, and being like, ugh, it's a Kira episode. Christ. Then then when I got older, I realized that it was a good thing that we have Kira because she comes a long way. And also too, in the same way that because like there's these big payoffs at the end of the series, sometimes because some big thing happens, but also sometimes because some big thing doesn't happen. Right. So like at the end of The Next Generation, Picard goes to the card game and it's like this has been happening and I knew it was happening, but it didn't feel like it was my place. And then they make him feel welcome. Like, well, you could have been here the whole time, Right. And so like their relationships just moved to a higher level in the last 30 seconds of the whole show.
Yeah.
And you're just left wondering, like, well, did they go on then to be even, greater comrades or not?
Don't count the movies.
Yeah, which I won't. So you have to worry about that.
Picard, for that matter, Star Trek Picard. Whew.
But in The Next Generation, I think there's so many, or in Deep Space Nine, there's so many things that happen in Deep Space Nine that I feel like just kind of get glossed over. That when you look at the whole body of your work, you're like, wow, that really that's impactful. Like, for instance, the whole premise of the start of the show is Bajor has won its independence from Cardassia because it had been a colony. And now the Bajorans, because Cardassia and the Federation, they had a war at one point in time, and they kind of have a tense truce at this point.
Right.
And so the Federation is doing what the United States does with Saudi Arabia. We're like, hey, we'll be buddies with Bajor that just so happens to be next to Cardassia that we don't get along with, know. And so the whole premise of the opening of the show was, because there was no wormhole at that point, was we're going to be buddies. The Federation is going to come in and be peacekeepers, and we're going to take over the station, and we're going to work to help rebuild Bajor, and then Bajor will join the Federation of Planets. And then the wormhole opens, and then there's the whole prophet stuff with Cisco and all that. But if anything, again, the Federation's like, hey, we don't really agree with all of this, like you being a religious icon for some other alien species, but if it'll help them get them in the Federation, then hey, play along, buddy. Tell them you're Jesus. But at the end of the series, what happens? Bajor doesn't join the Federation. Yeah. And that's great. It's like it developed all on its own, and it didn't have to just be the natural conclusion. Like if I was pitching the show to you, you would just assume in the end Bajor joins the Federation. The fact that it doesn't actually says a lot. It's like that Bajor actually decided, you know what?
Well, not only that, but it showed that the Federation, I mean, not just that particular storyline, but just in general, the Federation could also, because with TNG and especially the original series was, the Federation's great. Oh man,
yes.
Why are you questioning? With DS9 was that first kind of inkling of, oh, maybe the Federation isn't so great. And there's a lot
Yes.
of, like you're saying, Cisco and Kira, a lot of butting heads.
Yes.
I don't agree with you.
Even in later seasons of the Next Generation, where like Picard kind of butts heads with some other higher ups in the Federation or in Starfleet.
It was never
I
with the
shouldn't even
main
say
core. It was never with the main cast. It was always with some other
but
person, or it was like
but
some alien was taking over.
even when they're, because their job isn't necessarily to like spread democracy. They're not supposed to be more turning everyone else into the Federation,
Yeah.
but they're supposed to lead by example. As everyone, look at how awesome we are. We're the Federation. Don't you want to be like us? Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Well, in Deep Space Nine, people got a good long look at the Federation and decided,
It's not always.
that's not for us. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
not
we'll
always
just stay.
great.
Yeah, it's not always great. Yeah, it's not utopia.
You really get to see
Absolutely.
some of their what is it, the like, I don't know, the backdoor stuff, stuff that happens behind the closed doors that, oh, that's dirty stuff. You don't want to see that.
Well, there's the episode where Cisco goes back to Earth to help lead a security team because they're afraid that changelings have made it to Earth and they're impersonating people. And in that episode, they go through the whole rigmarole of like, they get a report that there's a changeling in the Alpha Quadrant, and instantly Earth locks down, full on authoritarian hellscape. People are being given like blood exams on the street corner. It's
Oh,
like,
that sounds
show me your
familiar.
papers.
That
Yeah,
sounds-
everyone, you got to have your real ID or you're a fucking changeling. You're going to prison. And it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And so again, and again, the endings were always so great. In that episode, the ending was the actor Cole Meany, Miles O'Brien is there, but of course he's like, what's Chief O'Brien doing here? He's supposed to be at the station, and it's a changeling, and he's sitting there on the park bench with Cisco, and he tells Cisco, like, look at all this, your beautiful Federation with all of its individual liberties and rights and all that stuff, and look what we turned it into. And he's like, how many changelings are here? 3. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, he basically is kind of saying that it's very easy to poke a hole in your Federation. I mean, look how fucking crazy y'all got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're different shows. It's the Next Generation couldn't do what Deep Space Nine did.
Yeah.
Partly because it's just a different show. They're not covering the same ground. But also the characters that are in Deep Space Nine, when you see them like forming a resistance, when you see them resorting to guerrilla tactics and fighting a war, you can see those characters in those positions. Yeah. Could you see like Deanna Troi and Geordie LaForge and Captain Picard like starting a guerrilla war in some jungle against the Jem'Hadar? Like that just
Contact, maybe.
It's just nah.
The movie's First Contact, yeah. Hey,
remember
when Jean-Luc Picard was being an action hero in Insurrection? Remember that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, then of course, obviously, there's also too, and this is an unfair comparison, but one of the biggest flubs of the entire Next Generation was they wanted the Ferengi to be the big bad guys,
right? Yeah,
and they just did a terrible job of rolling that out, and 2, because they did such a terrible job, it was like, this won't work. We have to just move on. Let's make up the Borg because we totally flubbed. But then they brought back the Ferengis in Deep Space Nine, and people were like, "These are the coolest fucking characters." Yeah. Like Quark, and
it worked for that series as opposed to TNG, where the Borg was like that. I mean, the Borg was basically, that was TNG's big bad villain there, and then with the DS9, you could just make it whoever, Gul Dukat, Cardassian, you can make whoever.
Yeah.
So,
like, I mean, I feel like for the most of all of the rest of Star Trek, like Voyager, obviously, and the movies and the beyond, really, the Borg are like Q exposing the Alpha Quadrant to the Borg set in motion like 90% of all of Star Trek since the original series, with the exception of Deep Space Nine is just about like the Jem'Hadar and
Right.
the changelings and
The
all that
Dominion
stuff.
War.
And
Yeah.
and so it is truly that kind of standalone series in that they have a different big bad. And
You can also make the argument that the theme song, the opening theme, probably the
Mhm.
best one of all the shows.
Deep Space Nines is pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really good. I mean, there's just so many good. It's so like I say, there's so many good characters because there's so many characters that are like side characters or minor characters, but they're awesome. Like Quark is a side character, and Quark is like incredible. Like compare because Deep Space Nine had been on TV for a few years, and then Voyager started. So like people used to say back in the day, they were like compare like Neelix from Voyager to Quark
Neelix.
from Deep Space
Neelix.
Nine. Like
Oh,
Quark
God.
just
Voyager.
decimates Neelix as your random side character bar guy. Like it's just, and it's not a fair comparison. They're totally different characters, but you see what I'm saying? Like people who are watching it on TV the first time are like, well, here's the random like quartermaster. This is the Guinan. The Guinan of Voyager is Neelix. And the person running the bar on Deep Space Nine is this Ferengi named Quark. And Quark is just a monumentally deeper and more complex character that's involved in so many more plot lines. And his relationship with Odo, obviously.
Right.
I mean, it's just, but then Quark occasionally doing brave things because, you know, he's actually the Ferengi with a heart of gold, even though Quark is actually like a like career criminal. Like he's done some bad stuff. Like if he didn't personally do a lot of bad stuff, he was at least tied to some bad stuff. Like he wasn't Jeffrey Epstein, but he was like fueling the plane.
I get that Latinum.
Like he did some wild shit, but then he kind of got away with it, you know, so to speak.
Man.
But then, and even like Nog was like this stupid Ferengi kid. And man, by the end of the series, you're like, you know, it's incredible. Like compare Nog from where he started as the stupid nephew and kind of getting in trouble and then like meeting Jake and then deciding I want to join Starfleet and be more like the humans to like becoming an officer, and then compare that to like Wesley Crusher.
Oh fuck no! Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So like, so we'll bring it back to the next generation. Whose like character arc was better, Nog or Wesley Crusher?
Well, I mean, from what you're telling, because that's what I was saying at the beginning of this whole Star Trek discussion, is that I want to watch it again to reaffirm my love for that series. But because like TNG is more fresh because we watched it recently.
Yeah.
But man, again, the first season of TNG, Wesley Crusher. Like I get like the character. I understand the character because apparently he was kind of more. Gene Roddenberry wanted someone like Wesley Crusher. He wanted to be Wesley Crusher, so that's why he created that character.
Mm-hmm.
But then some of the episodes are, Wesley Crusher just happened to solve the problem that we've been having. So what's the point of Picard then, and Riker and Data, if Wesley Crusher is going to be the one to, you know, do all? But then as it goes along, he gets better and he comes in and out. So I think it helps better when he's sprinkled in as opposed to being just a main character, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, at his absolute best, Wesley Crusher could be just written out of the show. He's never good. He's just less oppressively bad as he gets a little bit older. Mm-hmm. Whereas Nog goes from delinquent to like war veteran that's like dealing with PTSD and stuff from his injury and like it's like there's some complex stuff going on. So like Nog starts off as Jake's friend because he's a kid.
Yeah.
And then kind of evolves into a young person deciding what he wants to do and deciding, am I going to go the Ferengi route or am I going to go the Starfleet route? And then by the end, he's like sitting there having drinks at the bar with Chief O'Brien because they're talking about like dealing with the war and stuff.
Yeah,
It's like
casualties and all
that's.
that.
Could you imagine Wesley Crusher like growing some grizzled stuff and like sitting down and having a beer with Miles O'Brien talking about the war? No, because he's a faggot. No one cares about Wesley Crusher.
And the problem with him too is that when he comes across as this know-it-all type of guy, and then he joins Starfleet, and then they had that one episode with Wesley where what's it called? I think it's like First Duty or something, where they do like a training exercise and someone dies, and so he has to like lie or whatever. But he actually decides not to. He decides to tell the truth, and Picard goes, "Hey, I appreciate you for telling the truth, but of course you're still going to get in trouble."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like the whole overall character arc for him was kind of eh. But yeah, like you were saying with Nog, it's like you could see steps of him growing and keep on going to where he was from the start to the very end. You're like, he's like Walter White almost. Like you're a completely different person. like it's crazy.
Well, even there, so Wesley Crusher was like sort of kind of coddled by Captain Picard because he's Dr. Beverly.
Yeah, because he
Crusher's
never really had a
son.
dad. Yeah,
and all that. So he kind of plays that role of
yeah.
authority figure, but also male role model. But dude, like,
but it seems like every single time
dude,
they were together,
Captain
Picard's like pissed
Sisko,
off at him.
the way Cisco deals with Nog, it's like, oh, you're going to Starfleet? Well, good luck, young man. And after that, he's like, get the fuck out of my office. You say sir when you address me, you piece of shit. Hell yeah. Gives him that tough love.
Well, he's commanding officer. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not just be like, hey, what's going on? No, that's not how you do it. I thought you were going through academy. You should know this already.
Yeah.
So
because that's like, it's like, he's going through boot camp. You're not patting him on the back. It's like, drop and give me 20. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's
but
but Cisco's a harder man. That's the point. Cisco's a harder man than Captain Picard.
The first episode, you see Cisco, his wife dies. He has to bring on his son onto that what is it, the pod or whatever, to get away from the ship, whatever, and it explodes. And you find out, Jean-Luc Picard was, when he was Locutus, he was partly responsible for that. And then he has to meet him to basically go, you need to go on Deep Space Nine. This is your new assignment. And he basically tells him, you could tell the tension already is like, he tells him all that, the whole story. And so again, that was deliberate from that scene. Just, we got to show the people that this isn't going to be TNG. It's like the TOS, this could be like, it was similar to TOS and how they were structured, whatever, but DS9, this is not going to be, this is not going to be the same.
Well, so there again, in the same way that Bajor doesn't join the Federation. So obviously, probably one of the lowest rated characters on Deep Space Nine is Jake Sisko, Commander Sisko's son, Jake. Jake never joined Starfleet.
No,
he decides he doesn't want to, and his dad's like, well, if that's what you want to do, that Nog ends up being the one to go join Starfleet. Jake just decides to be a writer. He doesn't want to join Starfleet, and the thing is too is that like Jake. It's funny because on the one hand, you could make the argument that like, well, Jake doesn't have like a tremendous amount of growth. Maybe you don't love that character by the end of the show. But then on the other hand, season 4, episode 2, The Visitor, is one of the greatest episodes of television of any show that's ever been. And that is a Jake episode. Of course, it's funny because Jake is played by Tony Todd, because it's an older Jake. So it's funny that the actor that plays Jake doesn't get credit for the best Jake episode of all time. Yeah. But it's still technically a Jake episode because it's the character Jake. And in that, you're like, whoa, this is like really deep emotional stuff going on here. Like Picard had a couple of those, like the episode where like after his whole Locutus thing, he goes back to Earth and he's hanging out with his brother and he's like, dealing with it, and they're having like some family stuff, but it's him
episode right after.
Yeah. So like he has some episodes like that.
The Inner Light.
But The Visitor, in my opinion, obviously I've already said, I think Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek series, but again, this is not me saying Next Generation is bad. It's just number 2.
Right.
The Visitor is the best episode of Star Trek of any show of any era, period. I mean, that show got nominated for an Emmy. Do you realize science fiction shows don't get, like, especially back in the day, they don't get nominated for awards.
Yeah.
Like, this was like The Sopranos is going to win every award at the award show. And Deep Space Nine, The Visitor, got nominated. Like, that's a big deal. It should have won, to be totally honest. And I'm a big Sopranos fan, but like it should have won. It was just out of this world.
Yeah, I'm looking up Deep Space Nine Emmy. So yeah, like I was talking about the theme song.
Mhm.
So outstanding individual achievement main title theme music. Dennis McCarthy won that award because that opening theme, man, that's a great theme. I'm like thinking about it right now as I'm talking about it. It's great. But now I was talking about it. It's like, man, now I want to watch the show again because I wanted to for a while. But
there's
like
also
said,
just the series arc. People in the very beginning of the show, I mean, even when they were developing the show, there were critics who were like, I don't think this will work because the way Star Trek has always been is every single week we're off to a new adventure and we're going to be in this place and we're going to meet these people and it's going to be crazy. I don't think it's going to work where it's going to be like a sitcom where we're using the same, opening up the same apartment every week and there's Cisco and the gang.
Right.
But then after a few years of that, they drop the Dominion War on your head and you're just like, so they do it all. They cover everything.
Yeah. And then they did it with Voyager where you can get those adventures, but you still get the characters not always agreeing with each other and having those fights. Because some of the characters that were in Voyager, they weren't even in Starfleet. Like, weren't they some rebellious group or whatever? I don't even Voyager. I don't remember.
I don't know. Voyager sucks, so I don't know. It's why you can't have a woman be a captain. All of this happened because I asked you number 24. What's a hill you'll die on that no one agrees with? And somehow,
and then but you're the one that answered it, and we went into this whole thing about Star Trek. Yeah.
What was your answer? I don't even remember. Oh, what was it? It was
some dumb answer. Whatever. We'll move on.
No, I don't. Now it's gonna bother me.
It's me saying
no,
hotel.
It was hotel.
Yeah, the way I say hotel. Yeah, it's stupid.
All right. Well, whatever.
That was me not knowing how to answer that, and it was like, that's the only thing I can think of. So, yeah. Now I gotta watch the show. And like I said, we tried starting it, but she's like, I like Picard, and
no, dude.
So
as soon as Cisco drops like the mini fro and the clean shaven, and he goes goatee, dude, it's on. When Cisco drops the goatee, it's on.
That's from season 4 on, right? I think that's
the show already gets good. The show's already good before he gets to that point. But when that happens, it's like every episode.
That's when he becomes the captain. Like they actually promote him to captain within the series.
Yeah, he goes from commander to captain in the series. Yeah. So the show gets good like much earlier than that, but if you're turning on TV at 11 at night and you see Deep Space Nine is on and Cisco's got to go too, you're in for a banger. It's just
oh man, yeah,
man.
Oh, again, god damn.
And again, like side characters, like people look at the next generation is pretty much all crew members, right? Because you're on the ship flying around, so it's a bunch of crew members.
There are episodes,
whereas Deep Space Nine has side characters that are not Starfleet officers. Dude, Garrick is like one of the best Star Trek characters of all time, dude. And you know what the funny thing is? Like, I'll have to.
Okay.
I have to look this up just because I always forget it. People, like, you could ask anybody, and people will be like, Elam Garrick is one of the best Star Trek characters of all Star Treks. The way he steals every scene, the impact he has on the show, it's just monumental. Listen to this. Garrick only appeared in 37 out of 176 episodes of Deep Space Nine, approximately 21% of the show's episodes. In those, he has about 20 minutes of screen time on average.
Oh my god.
He was barely in the show, and you're like, this is the greatest character of all time. That's how good Deep Space Nine was.
It's like
you think he's there all the time.
It's like someone getting nominated for best supporting actor, and he's only in the movie for like 5 minutes out of like a 2.5 hour movie.
It's like a movie having like a, you know, some really famous actor getting nominated for like supporting actor when they were like basically doing a cameo, and you're like, that's garbage. That doesn't, you know, they didn't really play that big of a role in the film. No, dude, Garrick, everyone loves Garrick, and Garrick actually isn't in the show all that much.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in it, you know, 1/5. He's in 1/5 of the show. But it's just, if I had told you that, if you were like, hey, this Garrett guy, he's in the show like 1/5 of the time, you're like, surely it's more, like, it's got to be at least half. It's got to be like every other episode. Nope. 21%
Man.
has Garrick in it. And there's episodes where he's in that 21% where he's just like in a scene. You're like, oh, look, it's Garrick. You know?
Yeah.
His episodes are very few, and he's like huge character. And then obviously you already brought it up, in the Pale Moonlight, that is the quintessential Garrick episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, Garrick and Quark are so good at characters. Like, oh my God.
That scene where Cisco walk in and basically just like punches him when he walks in, and he's telling Garrick about the whole thing that what is it? The, like, you know, the guy saying it's a fake, and then he goes and sees Garrick and punches him in the face. Oh man.
Yeah, like let me see if I can. Yeah, the especially the lies quote is one of my favorite quotes. Man. So, because Bashir, one episode ends where Bashir asks Garrick, you know, of all the stories you've told me, which ones are true and which ones weren't? And Garrick says, my good doctor, they're all true. And Bashir, of course, Bashir knows that's not true because they've exposed a bunch of them. He's like, even the lies? And Garrick says, especially the lies.
Hell yeah.
God. And so isn't it amazing that like Garrick and Quark are two of the best characters ever? Both of those people are not Starfleet people. So that couldn't happen on the Next Generation. There's just, you can't do it.
And so, because yeah, like a lot of people would say that in terms of the writing, like Deep Space Nine is arguably the best, right? So I was looking this guy up, Ira Stephen Burr. He was one of the writers and producers of that show. I think that's the only Star Trek that, yeah, he said that he best known for Star Trek, especially DS9, in which he served as showrunner and executive producer. So that makes sense.
You should watch the series again. If you've watched The Next Generation recently, you should watch Deep Space Nine again. But something you should also do, because obviously there was never a Deep Space Nine movie. Like, they already had their movie. It was the Dominion War. They didn't need a movie.
Right.
But they made a documentary about Deep Space Nine. It didn't come out that many years ago. It's relatively new. It was called What We Left Behind, looking back at Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's actually amazing. Like, I'm not usually big into that stuff, kind of like your DVD extras type stuff, where it's like, oh, here's like a 1 hour documentary about the making of Friends. I'd be like, I'm going to go blow my brains out before I watch that. That documentary is actually incredible because they're actually telling a story in the documentary as if it's an episode of Star Trek while they're doing different interviews and talking about like how we did this and how we did that. They do some individual interviews with cast. They do some group interviews. They talk about people who didn't get along and people, you know, and some people obviously who passed away, like Rene Auberjonois was Odo and stuff like that. But they actually had the original writers and that guy, because he's like the guy doing that, Ira Stephen Bear. He's the guy doing the documentary. Him and his writing team are present for the documentary, and they write a storyboard for like season 8, episode 1 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Like, we're picking back up the show where we left off. And the documentary actually makes me so sad because the episode they script up is like, that would have been a fucking banger. Oh my God, this would have been so good.
It's a shame that it was just never as popular as TNG, because if it was like even if just par for popularity, we could have gotten Blu-rays, we could have gotten better picture, because obviously TNG's gotten a lot of the restorations and different versions or whatever, but in movies even, I mean, even though the movies are kind of whatever, but Deep Space Nine is because it's just been in standard definition, but I guess there's just not enough of that want, I guess, of wanting to restore, because even feels like 4K or to put it into HD, that would have been great. Because sometimes you look at the picture, you go, ah, man, it's grainy. I wish this could have been so much cooler if it was like an HD. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm being too 21st century minded. I don't know.
It's wild. So like you need to watch this, but I'll spoil this really quick. So they at the end of the documentary, they're like, okay, well, let's see what our crews put up with. Let's look at the storyboard for the season 8 premiere. And the way it premieres is, we're back at Deep Space Nine. You're going to do some cuts and some pans of, oh, it's the old station. Maybe some things look a little bit different and some things look the same. Some people have left, some people have come. And Kira is now obviously like she's at the station, but she has like she's ascended like in their like religious order, like she's like the Kai or whatever, like Kai Akira. And she's visiting the station. And of course, you remember at the end of the series, Cisco's gone. They don't know where, he's in the ether, whatever.
Becomes a prophet.
And some of the original crew have come back for like a reunion of sorts, and they want to visit with Kira, but Kira's like having to do her whole, like her professional job with the Bajorans. And there is the like political issue is there, like, remember how they had like the Maquis, like they had those Bajoran separatists that were kind of like terrorists or whatever, even after the Cardassian War or whatever. So like they're still having some political strife, and Kira's kind of like trying to navigate that field and all that.
Yeah. And
of course the Jem'Hadar, they're gone or whatever, no one's heard from Odo. No one's heard from Cisco. It's life has just gone on without them. And then Captain Nog, who is the captain of his own ship, while this is going on the space station, Nog is coming back through the wormhole, and they're expecting him. They're expecting him to come back and be a part of the reunion. But when he comes back, his ship is damaged and he's running from something. His ship is flying through the wormhole to get back to Deep Space Nine to warn them about something that's going on the other side. And as soon as he gets through the wormhole, his ship explodes. So Nog dies. But he was trying to send an emergency message to them to be careful of something. And so now the end of that episode would be the old cast and crew are there. And of course, obviously this was supposed to be a joyous occasion. And now everyone's bummed out because Nog just died. And they're all reminiscing about how, this sucks. Our old pal Nog, that little boy that we all remember as being such a cheerful fellow, is dead. And then, what's her name? The lady that replaced Jadzia. That character was supposed to say, you guys are you guys are remembering him as a boy, but he wasn't a boy. He was a man. And so you're dishonoring him by thinking of him as such. And something happened, and we should be looking into that. And then obviously, you have the Kira thing and the political angle with the Bajorans. You have some new threat coming out of the Gamma Quadrant. No one knows what it is. The ship just blew up right there in front of everybody. And right as the culmination of like, so the Federation is coming back in like, well, we can't just have one of our ships blowing up outside the wormhole. That means we're coming back, with a vengeance. And the Bajorans are like, Kai Kira, tell them to go away. And she's like, oh, I don't know, because I'm friends with these people. Then fling, Captain Cisco reappears.
Oh,
and that's end of the episode.
Wow.
Now it's like, God damn.
So
it would be extra amazing. It's obviously this would be hard to do. Like you'd need CGI and stuff, but wouldn't it be extra amazing if everyone had aged like 20 years, but Cisco was the same age when he reappeared,
right,
as he was when he disappeared? Yeah. So that was going to be season 8, episode 1 of Deep Space Nine.
Man, killing off a major character like that, damn.
Yeah, I know. Killing off a major character.
In the first episode too. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, yeah. And then just think of all the ways they could have made Chief O'Brien suffer that they haven't already.
That's true. They could torture him more. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh man. Wow.
Well, anyway, this has been fun. Glad
that was really. I was very unexpected to talk about Star Trek, but that was
yeah.
I love that show. I know people accuse it of being very communist, but I don't care. I love that show. I love that show.
If anything, I mean, Star Trek is communist. Deep Space Nine is not communist.
It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine's got a lot going on because there's more different people from different places converging, so that's why there's more going on. Yeah, man. So that's the hill I will gladly look. If anyone tells me, dude, The Next Generation is my favorite show ever, Captain Picard, I'd be like, yeah, man, right on. That's awesome. But Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek.
Yeah. And I tend to agree with you, but like I said, I'd have to rewatch it to, at least for me, see if it holds up as much as I remember it holding up.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, speaking of torture, I'm sorry I have to do this. No. I'm so sorry. But just like with DS9, you don't always get what you want. It doesn't always end the way you think it's going to end. But we're going to go through this quickly. I haven't even seen this yet, so I don't even know what they're going to be.
Didn't he take a week off last week or something?
He did. And then he came back.
Well, then he should have a bunch of bangers.
You would think.
Okay. All right.
So, all right. Well, we're in it now. It's another monologue from our good friend Tom Myers. He always has the good political savvy and know how to talk about good current events. So let's start.
Hello, and welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. A lot's been going on since we were last on. As of recording this, it is tax day, April 15th. I owe a lot on taxes since I'm an independent contractor, but I don't plan on paying. I worked it all out, and with the cuts that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are making, I figure the IRS won't get around to auditing me until I'm 117 years old.
That's a pretty good audit joke, right? 117 years old. Plus, what the hell is that sound? Oh, God.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody... Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's got their gain turned up too high. That's what it is. Gain is turned up, but they turn the volume down, and so you're getting a hiss, but it's not loud. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Last recorded, the hands-off protests took place all over the country, and various protests have continued taking place. I think they came up with that name to troll both Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, as hands-off is what the women they assaulted used to scream at them.
It's almost like how many times can he put Donald Trump in a joke,
Yeah. It's his mic. He's the host of this show for however long he's been doing it, and his audio is garbage. He's like a professional comedian or whatever.
And he took a week off. Maybe he could have worked on the audio issues, make sure everything's working right.
If he went to Best Buy right now and just got a blue Yeti for $80 and just plugged it into a USB port and clicked record, it would sound better than whatever it is he's doing right now.
It's good advice. Hopefully he'll listen.
With Trump's tariffs, the stock market has been crashing, slowly recovering and crashing again. It's a rough time if you have a 401k, isn't it? Like mine, for example. My 401k has been fucked more times than Jeffrey Epstein's victims.
It's pretty edgy.
For him, that's Yeah, the fact that it started with Trump, but it went like over here to a different like punchline. I'm kind of proud of him on that one.
Yeah.
He subverted my expectations by by not just like repeating the last joke of it's been fucked as many times as Donald Trump's victims. It's just the same
Right,
punchline. So good on you, Tom. You did a thing.
I'm going to catch a lot of shit for that one.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
From
You
who?
can't- Yeah, from who? Who's us? I guess.
Yeah.
And I told him he did okay. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you're the only person who listens to Tom Myers.
In his head, he probably thinks, "Oh, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this," and then no one's gonna give a fuck.
Mm-mm. I noticed that the chat replay was disabled right there. That's a shame.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what all the live viewers had to say about
Well,
this
they
show.
probably thought that was pretty edgy with that joke. Oh, you're gonna get some shit for that one, Tom.
All right.
With the market crash in 1929, a lot of people jumped out of buildings to their death. With the market crashing in 2020, a lot of people died because of an uncontrolled pandemic due to lack of government response. And now in 2025's market crash, we have the luxury of combining both.
The lack of government response, Alan, in 2020.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he talking about?
So he's not just a retarded leftist, but he like hasn't turned on his TV, hasn't looked at social media, hasn't read the room at all. It's April of 2025, so it's like he's gone 3 or 4 years past the deadline where all that stuff's bullshit, and he still believes it. I bet he wears a mask to this day. I bet Tom Myers will wear a mask to go out in public. He's like that level.
Wouldn't surprise me.
The pro-Trump candidate lost in the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race. For that election, Elon Musk arrived and campaigned wearing a cheese hat. I hope the next time he campaigns somewhere, the locals tell him, yeah, here, we take buckets of shit and just dump them on our heads. Mehmet Oz is now the administrator for Medicare and Medicaid services. It's scary that Medicare is under the control of a guy who gives off vibes of someone who would smother his parents to death with a pillow. Secretary of State Marco Rubio wants to deport people for thoughts they may have about Donald Trump and how they're endangering American values. I use that in air quotes. Under those criteria, we should deport Marco Rubio's parents for harming the country by giving birth to Marco Rubio.
Hey, there you go. He's speaking your language right there, Alan.
I mean, Marco Rubio's parents probably should be deported. That is true. So.
Oh, man. Marco Rubio.
President of El Salvador says that he will not release a Maryland man who was deported by the Trump administration and sent to one of their prisons by mistake. You have to give the president of El Salvador credit for doing the impossible, being a bigger dickhead than Donald Trump. A judge ruled that Newsmax defamed Dominion voting systems in their coverage of the 2020 election. It sucks for Newsmax because they were sued for $1.6 billion. I've watched Newsmax, and with their production values, they may be worth $1.6 billion in 25.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, on with the show.
I just want to point out he was making a joke about production values.
Yeah.
For someone else, for anyone else.
Yeah.
For literally anyone else.
Yeah, it's like, speak for yourself, Tom.
What we're doing right now is infinitesimally higher production value than Tom Myers, which doesn't even like have a video component. It's just that weird city with god awful audio. Yeah. And I just now noticed, because I just saw the little thing there. It shows like under 30 minutes long, and he has like a 2.5 minute long monologue. That's nothing.
Yeah.
That's no content. And it's not like it's 30 minutes that's just jam packed. It's 30 minutes and it's super slow. That's I don't know. Have you ever actually gone past this point to find out what it is they do for the rest of the show?
No, I'm scared too.
Like what is like? Does he interview someone? Is it like Bill Maher and they just keep talking, but they talk amongst themselves? Like what is it? He strikes me as he's trying to be Bill Maher.
Yeah, for sure.
His delivery. Which, first of all, Bill Maher sucks, and second of all, Bill Maher's smarter than this guy. But yeah, he's trying to be Bill Maher, but of course, A, we can't see him. B, we can only barely hear him above like.
Yeah, right. It's Snake behind him the whole time.
Yeah, so that's kind of the vibe I get is that I suspect that if you were to jump ahead, it's like instead of him trying to, because he's just reading jokes that he wrote on a script. In the first couple of minutes of the show, but like they just take a few topics and they probably discuss it amongst themselves or whatever.
So Donald Trump, he's a massive dickhead. Your thoughts? I agree. Yeah, 100%. Man, Joe Biden was the best president. Oh hell yeah, way better than this motherfucker. Yeah. All right, let's go on to my final thought.
He should at least have his final, his final thought music. At least have your slow jazz to play it out, like.
So, well, at least they did one joke that was somewhat okay, right? That Jeffrey Epstein one.
Mm-hmm. I have never once done a show that sounded that bad.
Yeah.
Like, if I did record something and it sounded like that, I wouldn't release it. I'd make something else. I'd redo it. That wouldn't go live.
You gotta get it out there. Bad audio and all.
Here. Since instead of asking you if you have a final thought, I'm going to pick another one off the list.
All right.
Let's see.
Okay. Last one.
Ooh. What's a lie you used to tell yourself?
A lie that I would tell myself is, I am a 10 out of 10, but I'm actually not.
Oh, I heard none. I thought you were going to say actually like 9. God, what a piece of trash.
Yeah.
Only a 9? Actual Phil.
Yeah. I was trying to be confident, but I'm actually very insecure and socially awkward.
No, you're insecure.
Yeah.
About yourself or about like the Brock Purdy? Like about yourself?
Both the things you just said.
Both of those. Oh God. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my answer is a lie that I used to tell myself is it's not my fault, but that was a lie because it is my fault.
Well, it's always my fault. So.
Well, you're insecure, so of course you fucking think that. You should lie to yourself and say it's not your fault.
No, I didn't do that. No, I'm trying to practice right now. No.
Yeah. See, I forget which question it was now, but it might have been on a different list we haven't even done yet. But I actually said, what's funny is you said that you used to lie to yourself and say you're a 10 out of 10, but actually you're super insecure, so you're not a 10 out of 10. I would actually say that even though I'm only going to be alive for 162 more days, I'm like I have a very low opinion of myself. Like my self-image is super low, but that's counterbalanced with like I'm enormously like arrogant. Like my ego is through the roof, and so I'm constantly balancing this. I'm a piece of shit.
Oh yeah,
and I'm better than everyone else. And so when you push those together, it makes.
I can be like that too sometimes, where I feel like like Tom Myers, like
We're way better than
Oh
Tom
man, can
Myers.
you imagine that guy's ego? He probably thinks he has the best show of all time.
He had. How else could he do it? How else could
Yeah.
he do it and still be doing it? And
Yeah.
have like hundreds of episodes of him doing it.
Like when I say I'm insecure, I'm literally checking the settings. Is my audio still good? Am I still on the microphone? Even now, I just looked. Am I still on the microphone? I think I checked. Yeah.
Actually, your mic's been muted, and I've just been guessing what you've been saying this whole time.
Man, what a great game.
Yeah, yeah. No, what I was going to say is that I have, and this is a relatively recent thing. I realized I didn't realize it the day it happened, but I realized that as I've gotten older, like my confidence level is just, which is weird because on the one hand you're thinking like, well, you're just old and used up and worthless, but actually my confidence is even higher than it was when I was at my peak. Isn't that weird?
So you're saying that you're not even at your prime yet?
No,
Yeah.
we're just like, this is
I'm just
peak.
getting started.
Yeah. When that says like 1 hour left, that's when I'm like I'm at prime Alan.
You're gonna be walking like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically me now. And that's the thing, is that you don't, I couldn't sit here and tell you what day it happened. I don't know how old I was or where I was when it happened. But if Sydney Sweeney were walking down the sidewalk right now, I would talk to her. It wouldn't faze me one fucking bit. Because in my mind, it'd be like, she's just a meat sack. I could talk to her. I don't give a shit about who she is.
What's the worst that can happen?
Well, there's a lot of bad things that could happen. But seriously though, like my confidence level is through the roof. Like I just when I carry myself with the attitude of I'm a grown ass man. Like I have arrived. I'm not trying to fit in. I'm not trying to convince people that I'm something that I'm not. I am. Period.
Man.
And I don't, it happened before now, but I don't know how long ago that was. It was somewhere in my 30s. Somewhere in my 30s, the switch flipped, and it was like, I'm here. I've arrived. I'm not working things out. Like I'm not trying anything. I'm not looking for an identity. I'm not doing something different with my hair. I'm not looking myself in the mirror and practicing my lines. I'm like, dude, I'm locked in. I'd be like, hey, what's up, lady? What's going on? I would talk to Sydney Sweeney. I'd say that's what's funny. I have actually been in situations where there's been like a celebrity or whatever, and people are like, oh my God, there's that person. And I would go over there, hey, so-and-so. Yeah, nice to meet you. I'm Alan. I'm whatever. And people would be like, oh, that's so cool. What'd you say to him? And I was like, what do you say to anybody? Like, they're just people. Who gives a shit?
And I'm sure that celebrity probably appreciates that because I'm just a, I'm
just talk to him
human.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've said the same thing about attractive women. I mean, you could ask your better half about this. Is that so for the young guys listening at home, here's the trick to talk to women. Are you ready? Pretend that they're a person.
Whoa.
Talk to them like a person. Yeah.
Or you can just reply to them with a goat gif and the rockets going through the roof.
Yeah. Well, y'all are in the same like line of the spectrum that it just kind of,
that's true.
It triggered
it
triggered the algorithm. Yeah, man. I tell people, look, like when I was 28, that was like peak me physically, but I did not have the same, whatever you want to call it, swagger, confidence, whatever. Mm-hmm. Dude, 39-year-old me would tell 28-year-old me, get the fuck up, go get her, go do, do whatever, like live your life. What are you waiting for?
Go on those dating apps and start swiping away.
No, man, it's scary.
All
No,
that
I
confidence
do.
talk. Oh no, it's scary.
I do. See, that's the thing though. See, I'm having the opposite problem now. So see, now I'm the older guy, and when someone matches with me, I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm Alan, and I'm into these things. How are you? And they're children. They're like, oh, hello, Mr. Allen. Like, okay, we can drop
Mister.
yeah, we can drop the Mr. part.
Can you
Probably. I think
imagine?
that'd be.
You're
It's
like,
all right. I'll tell you this last quick story, and then you got to hit the button.
yeah.
I was at a place eating not long ago, and I had this waitress. I had eaten there before, and I had the same waitress before. She was kind of cute. And like, look, I'm not out here trying to hit on waitresses. I'm just trying to eat lunch and then go about my day or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just, again, I'm flipped on. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna talk to the waitress. I'm gonna be like the old fogies and flirt with the waitress, except for I'm not an old fogey. I'm, And so this chick comes over, and she was probably a bit too young. Like I can't tell, man. These chicks, who knows? She was somewhere between 15 and 45. That's the best I could do for you. I have no idea how old she was. And so whatever, she took my order, got my food, whatever, came back by, asked me how it was, whatever. And I get to talking to her, like they weren't that busy. Like I would have enough just awareness that if they were busy, I wouldn't be trying to talk to the waitress or whatever. But they weren't busy. So I'm talking to the waitress. I don't even remember what I said now. I think we were just they had some random person come in, and then I was talking about how, I came out here with a group of friends recently. It was like after last year's live event, and this happened. They were a bunch of stupid Yankees. She was a Southern girl, so I was, and so anyway, ha. Okay, well, whatever. It's time for me to go. I got to get back to work. So it's like, well, I better get out of here. And then she dropped this bomb on me. She goes, "Thank you, sir." Sir? Sir?
Well,
So then I was like,
professional.
well, fuck you too, whore. Like, you can't call me sir. Yeah, I get it. She was, it was a reflexive thing, but still, I'm not a sir. God damn it. I'm still like oh no, Mr. Mosley is my father's name. Ha, 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 ha.
Oh my God.
So anyway, I'm going to kill myself after the stream tonight. So this was fun.
Yeah, so I guess you'll be never eating there again. You don't want to embarrass yourself.
Oh no, we're definitely not going back there.
Yeah.
I don't think that girl's there anymore either. So it's
after that incident, she's like, I can't go there. That guy might show up again.
Yeah.
So
what are you gonna do? That's just the way she goes. Which is just a replacement for it is what it is.
It's too late with Alan Mosley. Wednesday.
I thought you hit the button. I thought we were done. I'm waiting for it to say streams ended. God damn it.
After this, we're done.
You just right here. You just go to X, Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, which is wild that we have so many people who are on Twitch. You go to @Alan Mosley TV. Wednesday nights, 9:00 Eastern time. I would say that's when we have new episodes, but this week wasn't an episode. This week was like me and Dave having an existential crisis. That's what this week was. But we worked through it, and we got a lot of really like big time positive feedback. People like it's weird that we had like, so gather around, children. Everyone sat down and listened to Uncle Dave and Uncle Alan solve all of life's mysteries. So Wednesday nights, 9:00 Eastern time.
Well, thanks everyone for watching and listening, and I will leave you with one more question that was directed to Alan, but I'm going to direct it to everybody else as I hit the button to end the show. How do you decide what topics to cover on your show?
Hey, ChatGPT, what topics should I cover on tonight's show?
Thanks, everybody.